right, I'm excited about this one here tonight in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform, and most certainly all music and wrestling matters. And I'm going to speak with a man that was technically born on this platform on one of the channels that we're on now, but we've never met him. And I'm going to tell you about that and how he's connected to some guy that you probably hear of all the time here named the Nemesis James Taylor. Oh, hell yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a journey that has led our guest from just, I don't know, over 8 years ago, a YouTube video which got him 426,000 views for a Kurt Angle Hall of Fame speech to now where he's shoulder to shoulder with some of the very best in the wrestling scene, and especially when it comes to HCW, because he is our now reigning, defending HCW hardcore champion, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that match. We're most certainly going to talk about the establishment, and well, are things maybe beginning to crack in the establishment, and who knows whatever else, and maybe we'll even get into some other things, and maybe he was right before winning that hardcore championship at a Post Malone Jelly Roll show. Yeah, we'll get into that, and we'll get into who knows whatever else. But since I know really this is an interview that's probably 8-9 months in the making, I have the TikTok DMs for proof, and I know that really we should have had this man on a long time ago, but what better way to get him on after winning a championship? And oh, by the way, I've got a gift for him, and no, it's not exactly James Taylor coming on to Sportzwire Radio, but who knows there, but I've got something for him. But before I do that, I must give him that introduction, because so many of these PWF type guys have gotten this introduction. James Taylor, Anthony Steele, I know he's definitely heard that name, and some of the others, and I know my chat's waiting for it. I am now going to give you, my friend, officially an introduction that is, I don't know, like I said, 8-9 months in the making. And in the words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and start this show off in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, a man that was one of the cornerstones of the Promo Wrestling Federation, a man that has got 1,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, but is now officially a part of the establishment here on Sportswire Radio. One half formerly of the HCW Tag Team Champions of the World, and now the reigning, defending HCW Hardcore Champion. His name is simply put, Night Junior. My friend, how are we doing? And the champ is here.
We are doing fantastic. And like you said, 8-9 months in the making. And simply put, it took so long. All on me. It's all on me that it took this long.
To be honest, it's a bit of half and half. You know, there's people that come on here, and yes, you see some of the usuals like James Taylor every other week. And, you know, sometimes there are other people. It's hard to get a spot. And I'll certainly say, well, to be fair, we've had Gary Wolf, we've had Rhino, Savio Vega, and if you're a rock and roll fan or a heavy metal fan, we've had the bands King's X, who, by the way, Texas was one of their stomping grounds. We had on Kicks, we had on Zebra, and we had this band on Great White, which was certainly more than once bitten, twice shy on here. So there have been some legit heavy hitters, and in a way, without being here, you played a role in that, and it's good to meet you finally. It is about 8 to 9 months overdue, and I hope you're doing well here tonight.
Yeah, doing fantastic. The body has recovered from the hardcore title match, which, as you could tell by the little title under my name, I was successful in that endeavor.
I could certainly tell, and I'm going to put that match up here in a few minutes, and we'll talk about it. We'll go and watch the match along with you. We'll talk about a number of different things, but I'm going to start off here. For those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, Joey Knight, in a way without being here, certainly played a role in building Sportswire Radio, as we are now this close. We are this close to 1,500 subscribers. We'll celebrate that when we get there, but I am going to ask you, what does it mean to you now to be the reigning, defending HCW Hardcore Champion?
It definitely means a lot because, you know, there's only so many champions. There's only so many championships in a company. So when you're one of those people that can hold a championship in a company, it's solidifying yourself as one of the poster children, one of the cornerstones, one of the pillars of whatever company you're being a champion for.
No question.
And considering the fact that I trained with HCW, I'm now recently a graduate of the HCW Training Academy, it just means that much more because I'm representing what I consider my home, which is Hayward Championship Wrestling.
That's a great point because a lot of guys come on here and, yeah, I mean, they've won championships and they've done different things, but they don't have a true home base, or they've wrestled in other places to get to that home base. You know, certainly our friends that we have that come on here regularly, IMF, Law has been a part of things now for a while, Enterprise, Amplifier. I think about our friends in the underground, DBW, TF Crew, NEW, ROEW. I think about certainly the West Virginia Wrestling Federation. I think about our friends in the UK, CCW, the LWF in the past, when it was GT Ministries, KOW, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, all these companies. I mean, it's a long list of companies. Of course, my dear friend Darrow Johnson in the Wrestling War Zone. It's a long list of companies that have come on here. But guys that win it, they've been somewhere else. You, on the other hand, this is your home company. This is the first place you've been in. And now you've just graduated from the HCW Training Academy. So I've got to think that this means a little more because you're through and through an HCW guy, and this is the company that you solely call home so far.
Absolutely. And this one means a bit more because, for those that may not know, also a former HCW Tag Team Champion with my fellow establishment stablemate Eclipse. But that one, while it was special, it was my first ever match. It was obviously the first time me and Eclipse had teamed together, and we won the tag team titles. But this one means a little bit more because this is a representation of the hard work I have been putting in.
Yeah, and I think also when you guys were the tag team champions, you didn't get the victory in those matches. So that was, also, it's, I don't want to say it's bittersweet, but it's more or less like you wish you could have been that person, even though, yes, teamwork makes the dream alive and all that other stuff that people certainly throw out there. But this is different, champ, because you won it. There wasn't outside interference. There wasn't, well, he won, but he didn't get the pin or whatever things you want to throw out there. This one is special because you did it, and you most certainly went through a lot to win that championship over the Sandman, Damian Gray.
Yeah, absolutely. My body is
How you
like I was saying
feeling right
earlier.
now? About 72 hours or so since. How is the body feeling right now?
My body is finally kind of feeling like it's coming to normal. As I'm sure we'll see later.
Yep, we're
I
gonna
got
play
cho-
it in a few minutes. Yep.
yeah, I got choke slammed onto some things that would cause PTSD for a lot of people if they saw it. And just a couple other things that happened throughout the match where I was like, am I going to be able to get my body through this? Thankfully,
Right.
we did, and now we're all recovered.
Well, it certainly, I know, means a lot, and I know we're gonna put the match up here. I have it synced up, and we'll do that in a few minutes. But being a champion and being your first singles champion, I have to think that this is something you've been savoring quite a bit because it's your first one. People always remember the first singles championship. And I mean, how have you been savoring that?
I've definitely been thinking about it with a lot of retrospect because it's one of those things where, and some people may try to say like, oh well, it's just like a small indie company or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But like I was saying earlier, it is a big deal because you're now being trusted
Hey,
by
it's
a
an
company.
honor. Listen, you're a
Yeah,
champion in this sport. You know it. We get so many people on here. I get the little backyard guy, on a trampoline, and I get Gary Wolf and Rhino. So it doesn't matter where you are, it's going to mean something. And I think that being in a company that you're in, and here in HCW, which is, built up a following though on social media. We're closing in on
yeah.
2,000 followers on Facebook. YouTube was starting to put some numbers up. I think that it means something no matter what. I'm always of the mind that, hey, champion's a champion. I mean, you win that championship either in front of one person or, in Gary Wolf's case, 55,000 people you wrestle. And I think it means just as much. And I think for you, what you've gone through to get to this point in your career, I think you're going to look back no matter what you do in this sport, and it's going to mean just as much.
Yeah, and especially with a company as young as Haybar Championship Wrestling is, because I believe, if I remember correctly, we're coming up on our 3rd-year anniversary in September. HCW turns 3 in September.
Happy birthday.
That yeah, that's coming up soon. And if you look at, where we're at, we're based out of like a small town in Arkansas, Prescott, Arkansas, and we consistently have, I think the town's like 250, maybe 300 people, and
Wow.
we can, eh,
I
eh,
think like in my neighborhood, I might have like triple the amount of people where I was
yeah,
today. I just went to eat, and I'm saying hello to my buddies who are out there on the internet. My buddies Joe Roses and Josh Billy, where we ate in Diker Heights, Brooklyn, the Bay Ridge Diker Heights border. I think literally on the block we were on, there might have been more people than you have in that town. That's so
yeah,
fascinating. I'm in New York City. It's like that's crazy.
yeah, and it's like you would think, like with a population that size, like okay, maybe 25 people show up to a wrestling show on a
Yeah.
Saturday night. No, we consistently have anywhere between 60 and 125 people
Wow. So you're talking about
every.
like, I
Yeah,
would say what, a quarter to half the town watches you guys. Wow, that's pretty
yeah,
cool.
like every single month. So like to see what they have built in the you know 2 years previous before me showing up, and to see like how it's continued to grow with building changes and everything else the past 8-9 months, it's something special, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And we're definitely proud to be talking about HCW here, and Haybarn Championship Wrestling is doing an outstanding job. I'm going to put some links up here in a minute or two, but let me ask you then a side question, because I don't really ask these kind of questions. You know my style by now. But do you go out? Because again, I'm in New York City. I'm a Brooklyn guy, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and I'm not in these small towns. I have so many wrestlers come on here all throughout the years, and I don't really talk much about what it's like in their area, but when you go out to Prescott, Arkansas, do people recognize you and go, "Oh, Joey"? Because I saw your match afterwards. You were certainly taking pictures with the fans. People were certainly into it. They were chanting your name. But like, do people recognize you then in Prescott, Arkansas, when you go out there and for these shows, or what?
So I mean, because I really don't, go out into the town much when I go up on show day. Because show day, it's very like
Yeah, I know
tunnel
the deal. Yeah.
vision. I get to the
We got to
building
get
and
there. We got to plan the match. We got to be there early, set up, take down. We got to be there with everybody. It's I get
yeah,
that, but for
yeah.
sure.
So like, because when I'm heading up there, it's I have. I'm not leaving to go get snacks or food, or most of the time anyway. Like I have all my stuff prepped with me to spend the whole day there. But like the town, like it's a great town, a great
Yeah.
little small town. There are some neat things in the town, and then
Okay.
there's plenty of other small towns also that are like just surrounding in the area.
Okay.
So Prescott and the surrounding areas in of itself, like it's an amazing environment to be in.
Absolutely, no question about that, and that's always cool because you learn something new every day. But I think it's time for me to put this match up on the screen. I want to do that in a minute, but I before one more thing. If you're here on YouTube and I see there's a bunch of people that are tuned in, they're coming in the chat. I see a few familiar faces. I think they'll come in throughout the evening, in and out. But first of all, before I sync it up, hit the sub button for Joey Knight. The guy's got over 2,000 subscribers already. Obviously, he subscribes to the James Taylor analytics of certainly getting up those YouTube videos and those YouTube views, and maybe that's really why he's been a part of the PWF. No, I'm only kidding, but let's certainly talk about it. I have the match synced up. I want to put it up right now. Once I share my screen, there we go. Technology is an interesting thing sometimes in the world. But here we go. And we've gotten ready to match time. For the interest of time, I synced up entrances to get to where we are right now. And Champ, talk to me what's going through your mind here as you're about to wrestle here, the current champion at the moment, Damian Gray, the Sandman, for that hardcore championship.
What's going through my mind currently in this moment is breathe, breathe, breathe. You're gonna get through this, and you're about to go through a war. That's what's currently.
Really? So you're
It,
telling you? Let me ask you, because my guest yesterday, who, believe it or not, had 17 years experience, Maverick, who's wrestling for the WVWF World Title, and he was talking about being nervous. And he's a 17-year veteran. You've only been in the game not even a year. Were you nervous going into a match like this?
I mean, obviously, like there's always gonna be kind of like the base set of like nerves because
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're getting into. It's professional wrestling, and 9 times out of 10, you always hear from other guys like when they get hurt, it's always off of something dumb that they've done 1,000 times. Um, but
Right.
but but now adding in the extra element of this is a hardcore match, we have a lot. There's a lot of like unattainable variables. You could pull out a ladder and the ladder may not work with you. You could try to climb the ladder, but a leg may be busted on
Yeah.
that ladder, and you tip and fall
You have
over.
to think on
So
the fly and try to come up with something else because, like you said, it's a hardcore match, which means that there are other things involved in the match, and that's what makes it different. And I think that that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought of that much. I get guys like Kato, who, by the way, had a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Kato. I get these different guys like the Deathmatch Juggalo, Brian White, and Jimmy Controversy's been here, and all these other hardcore names. Certainly Gary Wolf, Rhino. They've done a lot of this, and it doesn't really come up to, hey, maybe that ladder doesn't work, or hey, maybe that chair shot is not the chair we're looking for, or maybe the bat is broke, or whatever it might be. And that's, you have to think about those things. And I hadn't thought of it in that way. But talk to me about your opponent in the Sandman, Damian Gray, the current champion, and what kind of a competitor is he?
Sandman, he's very straightforward. What you see is what you get. He's a brawler. He's a powerhouse. He does, as he showed at the beginning of the match, as he was kind of showing right there, he does have technical ability to him. But if he can beat you up by just ground and pound and tossing you around, he's going to do that. And ever since coming under the control of Carnage, who is, you can see in the corner right there, bad guy of the Carnage
Yeah, I
faction.
see it. I see it. Yep.
Yeah, they came in possession of his skull, which is where all of his power lies. And ever since they got possession of that skull, he's been pretty much been used as kind of like their muscle, their powerhouse, their guy that gets the things done for them. And so now I'm having to deal with that variable because before, Sandman, pretty chill dude. Not gonna lie, was not nice most of the time that I met him. And then when it came time for that ring, it was time for business, and business got done.
Well, you came out and gave him some business. You gave him the business, and you came out there and took it right to him because he gave you an opening. You took that opening because he was going and walking around, and it looks like he had a trash lid or some type of object that looked like that. And you came right back and hit him with some offense, and that's what you have to do in order to win a match like this.
Yes, because I had one singles match with Sandman previously before this. It was back in February, hardcore title match. And as I was saying earlier with the skull, Carnage getting possession of that, I thought, okay, maybe if I just beat him up enough, I was more worried about breaking him out of Carnage's spell than winning the title. And I quickly learned that, this is not the same Sandman that I was used to dealing with. This is a different Sandman. This is a mean Sandman. This is an evil Sandman. And
well, the Sandmans generally are evil. We think about Enter Sandman, Metallica, Sleep with One Eye Open, Hush Little Dog. We think about in baseball, there was the Sandman, Mariano Rivera. He would come out to the same music. So, that's kind of what you would expect. Let me ask you, though, something else. You said something interesting. I want to go back to it. We're here with, of course, Joey Knight, the brand new HCW Hardcore Champion. An interview that is months in the making here on Sportzwire Radio. We'll tell you in a little while why. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. If you're here, hit the sub button for Sportzwire Radio. I am literally now just a handful of subscribers away from 1,500. We'll celebrate that when that time comes. But what did you learn from wrestling the Sandman back in February that prepared you here Saturday to win the HCW Hardcore Championship?
The main thing was look out for handcuffs, because in our previous match, he handcuffed me, he whipped me with a kendo stick, and then he stacked me up and pinned me. I tried kicking out, but you could only do...
Yeah, I don't think being handcuffed and getting hit with a kendo stick, with much respect I have to you, you're going to be able to overcome that with much respect I have for you.
You can only do so much when your hands are, literally tied behind your back. So I had to watch out for that throughout this matchup. But like I was saying, in that first match, I learned that, okay, Sandman's too far gone. I really can't do much for him at this point. So I just got to focus on winning this hardcore championship. So I just got to worry about bringing a fight that I know is going to win a match and not necessarily get an old friend back on our side or get an old friend set free. I'm having to worry about winning this match. So
and
that's kind of where
it's a hardcore championship match, and it's a match again that it's not a traditional wrestling match. So you've got your work cut out for you, but also he's a bigger guy. So on top of that, you're working against a number of different factors against you.
That, and obviously, just experience alone, he's way more experienced than me, but also he's way more experienced in this environment than me. Because this is only my second hardcore match.
I was going to say, you have only done 2 of them, and he just hits you with what looks like a sledgehammer there. So he's definitely...
Yeah, he got me in the gut real good with that.
Well, you know what? That's almost like when maybe you cut a promo on somebody. You kick them in the gut, and that's what he's trying to do to you. But obviously, you got to find a way, and you're trying the best you can. And the veteran is certainly working a match to wear you down. And there's that ladder, and he's going to look to use it. And what are you thinking right now?
In this moment, I'm getting up. I can kind of see out the corner of my eye, like, there's a ladder. And as we all know, when it comes to ladders in a pro wrestling, there's nothing good.
Well, but, you know what? You got him good there. You definitely gave him a dose of his own medicine.
Yeah, I kind of figured mentally in my head, there's probably only about 2 or 3 ways that this can go, and I took my shot on he's probably gonna try to whip me in it, and sure enough, I was right. I was ready for it. I was able to get him right there, and now the momentum matches in my favor. Take a swing, call my shot Babe Ruth style right there.
Well, it was Yogi Berra's birthday, I believe, yesterday, and you kept
Oh.
up with that theme. But you're working. You're working now the leg. That's a smart move because in a long match like this, you're going to want to wear down your opponent. That's a smart move in a match like this. Very tactical of you.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, wasn't really thinking about it much from the tactical aspect. I was necessarily thinking of he did this to me in our last match. He targeted my leg, so little
Ah,
tit for tat, eye for an eye, or in this case, kneecap for kneecap. But as you said, pretty smart strategy to do, especially since he is bigger than me. And, like you said, you never know how long these matches are going to go for. And, oh, this wasn't good.
yeah, that
Oh,
was obviously, yeah, that was, you spoke too soon.
yeah.
And you're
Uh,
definitely down for the count.
yeah, I remember because I saw him move out of the way at the very last possible second, and I got my arm in front of me. So, right there, as you can see, I'm like trying to check for that feeling in my arm, like,
Yeah.
okay, we're good here. We're good. I can keep going. But
Did
yeah,
you feel like in that moment that you were worried maybe you had an injury of some sorts because of how you braced that shot? Was it when you fell into the ladder? That's something that you were concerned about?
no, not necessarily because I've been fortunate enough, like throughout my history of athletics, whether it be football, basketball, or with my professional wrestling career, I've never had like any type of serious injury. I've never had a broken bone or anything
Good.
like that. So mentally, I'm thinking, okay, this is not a different feeling. So it's nothing that I necessarily need to be concerned about. Now, if
Well,
it's a
you
now, if I
got
would have had a different sensation that I've never felt before, then there probably would have been some concern.
well, to your credit, you got back up and you started working him on the outside, and you're hitting him with some punches, and you're now going to use some objects with to him, and I think that you're showing that you're learning. You're showing that you've learned a bit here in training, and but what happened there just now? I watched it the first time, and what happened?
I got a little too cocky.
You got trigger
Um,
shy, trigger happy.
yeah. I took my moment to make fun of him, copy one of his lines because he likes to get like some type of little powder out from his pocket, mark you on your head, X marks the spot, then put a whooping on you. And I got a little cocky. I decided to make fun of his little catchphrase, X marks the spot. I took my swing and did not successfully call my shot that time. I
Well, you know
missed.
what? You weren't Babe Ruth anymore. You were
Yeah.
definitely not Babe Ruth. Let me ask you this question. You got a big crowd here, and a lot of them were chanting, Joey, Joey, Joey. So talk to me about the crowd and how they played a factor in a match like this.
I mean, they play an absolutely huge factor because, you know, especially in those moments like when I ran into the ladder and I'm feeling for my arm, if I'm not hearing the crowd, if I don't hear the crowd chant Joey, Joey, or let's go Joey, let's go Knight or anything like that, I'm going to be focused a lot more on my arm. I'm going to be getting in my head like, do I have an injury and I just don't know it? But when the crowd's rooting for you like that and the crowd's chanting for you, all of that kind of goes off to the side. You really don't think about it. You just kind of go into autopilot mode. You kind of just go into flight or fight mode.
Adrenaline, right,
Yeah.
is certainly getting you through. We had Maverick on last night, and he talked about the crowd, how he feeds off the crowd and the crowd. And you have a big crowd here. I think your crowd is a little bigger than what I saw in his matches in the WWF, and I could hear those chants from here. And I think that shows that that's something you need, especially as the longer this match goes. This is a long match, and I know that you've been wrestling a little while, but in a match like this, you've got to pace yourself, right, to hang in with a veteran who's got an experience factor over you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the advantages, I guess, that no, and I guess depends on who you are, whether you consider it advantage or maybe just not taking advantage of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But with this being a hardcore match, one of the thoughts in the back of my head is like, okay, if I get him at points where I'm consistently hitting him with weapons and he's down and I know he's going to be down for a little bit, I can kind of catch my breath. Maybe double
Yeah.
check on my arm or knee and make sure, I'm not dealing with a serious injury.
Mm.
And kind of, pace myself better. Whereas if it's a, you know, normal one-on-one match, you really don't necessarily have those opportunities of
Yeah.
you knowing you have an opponent incapacitated for a longer period of time than
Yeah.
you normally
Yeah,
do.
for sure. No question. You are working him a little bit. You're trying to wear him down. You win for a series of pins. Why go for the series of pins and not continue to do what you'd done prior to that? What was the thinking there? Which, by the way, you have a smart strategy, which was one of our guests a few days ago had implemented the same strategy in his match, Silas Walker. You're trying to wear your opponent's ankles and knees down.
Yep. And as far as like the question about the series of pins, just change up the strategies. Try to keep your opponent constantly on their toes. Like, sure, I probably could have, grabbed some more weapons and continued the beat down that way. But maybe Sandman, him being the experienced veteran and everything, would have maybe seen that coming at some point. But if I do some moves, go for a quick pin, he kicks out, and then I go for another series of quick moves and go for the pin again, I'm not only physically wearing him down, but I'm mentally wearing him down by him having to constantly kick out. So,
Okay.
try to change up the strategy a little bit.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a good strategy. But you
Ooh.
unfortunately are taking some shots here. This is definitely a hardcore match here, my friend. You've definitely put the H into the HCW only instead of Hay Barn. It's hardcore championship wrestling here.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the moments where we were talking about earlier where the
Yep.
crowd playing an important factor in the matchup. That was one of those moments because not only was my head ringing after going into that chair, but my left ankle was in serious amounts of
Oh,
pain
I can
because
imagine. Listen, what you're putting your body through here, you are definitely, to quote the band Triumph, you were definitely laying it on the line. You were laying it down on the line here and some. But
yeah,
yeah.
because when I went into that chair and I fell backwards, I fell on top of my left ankle,
Oof.
and yeah, and like I was trying to like move it around, like see like okay, like what kind of pain level on a scale from 1 to 10 are we at with this? Thankfully, it wasn't too high, but it was
Okay.
definitely there.
Okay, it was definitely moderately enough that
Yeah,
you thought about it, but you're coming back here. I tell you what, you're hitting him on the turnbuckle. Very smart move. And for a guy that's got not as much experience as the Sandman, you were definitely hanging in there, and you are definitely working on a smart move here, getting the punches onto your opponent on top of him on the turnbuckle. Definitely famous move we've seen before in the ring. You're doing a little bit of your own five knuckle shuffle and shades of John Cena, Dusty Rhodes, all that great stuff, and now you're laying it into him here a little bit. This is smart tactical work here for you.
yeah, just try to do things as quickly as I can, wear them down as quickly as possible, try to change up the strategy as much as I can. As we see right here, boom, clothesline the big man down. And I believe, yes, I go for another cover
Yep,
right
and this
here.
is where we're getting toward the end of the match here. We're getting toward
Okay.
we're in the second half of the match definitely, but smart from you, and you thought you had him, but you come back outside. And maybe you give him some time, but you're looking for something, and we're going to find that out
Yeah.
shortly. Yeah,
Yeah, this smart idea in theory, at
but
least what I thought. But as we'll
no,
see, this did not
no, it
pan
didn't
out
go
the
into
way
your
I thought.
favor. But we are, like I said, toward the end of the match, so it'll eventually work out here. But before we get to that point, you again, this was maybe an inexperienced move from you. You were definitely going for it all, and we're gonna find out. But yeah, you hit him. You definitely hit him hard there, but you are going to look for something else here shortly in a minute, and we're going to find that out. But we are watching again for the HCW Hardcore Championship, Joey Knight Jr., who's, it looks like there are those some thumbtacks. They look like there's some thumbtacks there. Is that what I see?
No, they're depending on who you are. Like if you have children, there's something worse, and that's Legos.
Oh, okay. You know, that reminds
Yeah,
me of a toy box match that Jimmy Controversy did once upon a time. Yes, you got the
Yep.
Legos. That's because you're probably in a family friendly environment, and but you're definitely going into something. And yeah, that's
Weird.
why we said that that wasn't a smart move on your part, sir.
Yeah, I guess. And even though I did hit him with the lid, I guess overall I gave him way too much time to recover right
You did.
there.
You gave the veteran a chance to get back in the match.
And as we talked about earlier, sometimes, having that, taking those extra few moments, taking those few extra breaths don't work out in your favor. But as we can see
Well,
right there,
but you
boom.
did find a way and you hit him. And this is where we're going to see the moment where everybody erupts. And there it is. I'm going to put the volume up for this because it's a special moment. And we're going to play it because everybody just wants to hear this emotional moment. Look at. There it is. Joey Knight Jr., HCW Hardcore Champion of the World. And boy, you definitely earned that one going through Legos, ladders, and all the pain you went through. And that's it. Look at the fans. They're erupting. They're erupting. And just now we see you coming out and, you know, you win this moment and you're taking it all in and the fans embrace you. And this is a spot we've seen by so many wrestlers over the past. And just walk me through your mind here now that you've done it and won your first singles championship and just the fans, and talk to me about this.
Yeah, so this was special, family, friends, everyone else were here for this moment and walking around the ring with my stablemates in the establishment. And it was this was the brief moment of a feeling of accomplishment. Like, okay, yes, I finally
The
did this.
photos you're
Just,
taking with there,
yeah,
people are high-fiving you, hugging you. I mean, just emotional.
yep. It's one of those check, I did that moments. And then quickly it turned into, okay, now the real work begins. Because as we've heard it said many times before, it's one thing to become a champion, but to stay on top as a champion is a completely different task.
Oh, you know what? We say it all the time on Sportswire. You go from being the hunter to now the hunted. There's a
Yep.
transition. I've been talking about this for years on this platform. It's one thing to be the guy chasing, but now you're the guy that everybody's chasing, and it's going to certainly be where the real work comes in. And we see everybody here, and we see your members of the establishment, and it's a great moment. And for a minute, I guess everybody's all hunky dory.
Yep. Definitely a moment where it's like, okay, everyone is getting along.
Which I
uh,
guess, I mean, people have. It's been a topic in HCW, and I
yeah.
mean, how are things right now in the establishment?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, from the last time we've talked with everyone, everything seems to be neutral, seems to be okay.
Mm.
Of course, we still have things, some of us need to get over with each other. But overall, especially after this weekend, me winning the hardcore championship, my fellow stablemate, establishment OG Eclipse, not only is he the current HCW international champion, but he won the HCW world heavyweight title this past weekend. And then our other fellow stablemates, Aaron Black and Kip Havoc, are now the number one contenders for the tag team titles, on top of Aaron Black also being number one contender for the social media title. So we're in a fine spot where maybe here in the next few couple months, all the titles in Haybar Championship Wrestling could belong to the establishment.
That
So
could be so, but also from what we've seen on the most recent video, I mean, if you guys are together, I mean, that could certainly be the case, but will you guys be a group together potentially with all those championships? That's what I must ask you.
I think obviously with things happening and the heat of the moment and everything else, I think now that everyone's had a few days to just sit back, relax, and just sink in all the beautiful moments and the accomplishments that we had this past weekend, I think everything is fine. I think we can look at the bigger picture for now and see that, hey, we have an opportunity to do something special right now. You
You
know,
can. There's no question
yeah,
that you guys could be one of those groups and one of those especially great groups in HCW. But I mean, let me ask you this question, and we're going to get to the chat. I see the chat is now starting to come in here, and I see people are wanting to talk to you, and we're going to get to them. But have you spoken to everybody in the last 24 hours? I know we see the videos here from the last show this past weekend, but have you guys all spoke to recently and such?
I can't speak for as far as if everyone has spoken to everyone, but I can speak for myself saying that I have spoken to my other stablemates. I've talked to Aaron Black, who you can see sitting down there in the video. I've talked to Kip Havoc in the black shirt right there, and I've talked to Eclipse in the camo hat. I've talked to all my stablemates, whether or not Kip has talked to Aaron or Aaron's talked
It
to
seemed like
Eclipse.
with his facial reactions in this video that he's got some issues right now.
Who'd you say?
Hip, Havoc,
Kip?
he's got issues. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had to have a talk multiple times with Kip in regards to everything that's going on. So, a little bit of backstory on that. At our April show the previous month,
Yes, the April 12th show. Yes.
yes, 8-man tag team elimination match, Carnage versus the Establishment. That has been something that's been brewing for months upon months, and Kip Havoc comes back 3-1. He was the last guy
Yeah,
for our team. There's 3 members of Carnage,
one.
and he came back 3-1 and won the
Yeah,
match for
I
us.
saw the video package for
Yeah,
that leading up to
yeah,
your match. I did see that. Yep.
yeah. And he's the reason I even had the opportunity to get that hardcore title, because the stipulation of the match was if Establishment win, then 2 members can get title shots at Black Savage, the social media champion, and Sandman, the hardcore champion. If Carnage wins, then one of them gets a shot at Eclipse's international title. Thankfully, Kip Havoc won it for us, and he was upset because Aaron Black took claim to the social media title match, and then I took claim to the hardcore title match. I had a conversation with Kip. I don't know if Aaron Black and Kip have had their conversation yet about Aaron taking the social title, but I had a conversation with Kip. I told him, like, listen, man, I need this second opportunity. Like,
Mm.
I had the wrong mindset going into the previous match. He handcuffed me, so you could say hardcore rules, it was legal, but you could definitely tell that, like, he was afraid of losing to me. And if I don't make those same mistakes, which, as we could tell, I didn't make those same mistakes
No.
again.
Yeah, you won.
So,
You're the
so,
champ. So
so
I'm
it's
talking to you right now.
yeah. So hopefully that should be a make good enough for that situation. But he seemed to understand that situation, and I know him and Aaron have been going at each other's throats a lot lately, which is kind of crazy because they've been teaming here recently. They are the number one contenders for the tag team
Yeah,
titles,
yeah.
after all, but yet they're potentially the two that are going at each other's throats the most. Kip wasn't happy about the fact that Aaron Black took what Kip thought was his pin in the tag team match. But like I
Mm.
said, hopefully now that
Sounds
everyone's
like a
had
lot of fighting over things that could be easily smoothed over. So
exactly.
it sounds like you guys can get this in order, but time will certainly tell. And I mean, obviously, you get a major victory. We'll see what Aaron does. Get another Black on the platform. Thankfully, Aaron Black is no Wyatt Black, but
Yeah.
certainly CJ Black and Omen Black, I'm sure, could definitely have a match or a conversation with Aaron Black. But we're certainly happy about that. But we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, there's no question that there's certainly a future that could be really prosperous for you guys as a group, or this could divide you guys. I guess time will tell, and we're gonna find out here coming up very soon.
We will. I definitely have in my mind it's going to go one way. Like I said, I think everyone's going to be able to see the bigger picture of what we can do, and hopefully just smooth over any of those bumps in the road, any of those personal issues, and hopefully we could just move forward.
Absolutely, no question about that. I want to get to everybody here in the chat shortly, and we're here with Joey Nigeria. Let me ask you one more question on HCW. First of all, what does it mean to you now to be officially graduated from the training academy? What does that mean to you now?
It means a lot. As far as because the history of the company and everything, it started with a bunch of guys pretty much self-training themselves and having help from veterans around the area. But as far as like in this current format of what the company is, to be the second graduate of how this process officially
Right.
works, my tag partner Eclipse being the first graduate, um, it means a lot because we're laying the foundation of something that could turn to something really special in the future for HCW. Whether we stay and continue to grow with our Prescott shows and people show up from 2 hours away, 3 hours away just to come see
I
us,
wish I
or
could show up. Unfortunately I'm on the other side of the country, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds like a great
or
show.
whether we expand and start doing other shows in other places in Arkansas, like Little Rock
Yep.
or
I know Little Rock,
Arkadelphia,
obviously.
Conway, places like that.
President Clinton's from Little Rock, so I know Little
Yeah,
Rock, obviously.
yeah. So to me, it means when people look back 5 to 10 years from now, whether I want to admit it or not, I'm going to be one of those foundation pieces of whatever HCW ends up becoming in 5 to 10 years. And I take that as a challenge and I take that responsibility very seriously.
And I do too, and I definitely want to support HCW because before I get to the chat, I have their YouTube link, and I'd like people to watch some of their stuff. Give them a follow. Facebook closing in on 2,000 followers. It is a great honor, and I know because I've got almost 3,000 on Facebook, and my Sportswire page has almost 1,000. So I know how hard it is to get those numbers up, and I want people to hit the sub button for HCW. It is a great company. What a nice little show. That's what I love about wrestling. I love getting companies on like HCW that have just a great fan base and they're so fabric into the community, such a fabric. I always talk about the reasons that we're all here is because of community. It's leadership for our community, and the leadership of HCW is a huge part of that and the success of Prescott, Arkansas. So join me in hitting that sub button for HCW. Hit that sub button for Joey Knight Jr. Instagram, I'm going to put his link up there for that in a minute. I'm going to also give him something, and we're going to talk about a number of different things. So let's get to the chat. He's been waiting for it. They've been waiting for it. And Zilla is our first one here, and she says, nice to meet you. Yes, almost 9 months in the making, and here we are. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. Big tag team match this Thursday. What is your YouTube link again? But thank you for coming by. We appreciate you, Blood and Honor Wrestling. Love when the companies come on and spam and tell me I watch my show. I do it all the time. It's okay. No, we love it. It's great. Just you showed up for a minute or two. We appreciate you very much. Thank you very much. And we love Blood and Honor Wrestling. This guy we'll definitely get into here in about 10 or 15 minutes.
James Taylor.
We're going to get to him. Yeah, we're going to get to him. We're going to get to him. I promise you. But I got a few more things I want to talk about. But we're going to definitely get to James. I'm excited because James is actually in your chair tomorrow afternoon. We have an afternoon edition of Sportswire Radio. So James will be here. And I have a feeling Jacob Collins might be here next as well. And hit the sub button for Joe. I've been putting up throughout the entire evening. My buddy Saturday, who I referenced, Silas Walker. Yeah, HCW is a nice little company. I love these companies like HCW. Reminds me of when I was covering, 4 or 5 years ago, British wrestling companies. They'd be like in these small towns, whether it was Lancashire, Barrow, whether it would be in Bradford, where all these little places that these companies would run shows, and they would be like 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe 100 people, depending on when. And Salford would be a part of that too. They've been here over the years, and I think HCW's got that ingrained in the community. And it's got to be a nice ring, nice little venue, and really nice. Love seeing that,
Like you said, the community aspect. I mean, because every single month we'll see the same, like I said, 60 to 100, potentially 125 faces. We see the same faces practically every single month, and like even the mayor and his family are at every single show. So like to have that kind of support from the community, where like even the mayor is taking time out of what I assume he has a busy schedule after all.
No, I think that's, you know what? I'm going to jump in because I have a background in politics. I wish that more politicians would show up to wrestling shows. And if they were smart, they would show up at these shows because, well, duh, there's going to be people such as your constituents being there. So smart move by the mayor by actually showing up and watching HCW because, well, a bunch of your constituents are there. That's a great, I have been in politics almost my entire adult life. I'm a few years older than you, not by much. And, it's been a decade and a half of politics. And I've never had any of my campaigns I worked on, any of the people I work for really want to go to a wrestling show and watch it because I would think it'd be a no-brainer, but they think otherwise. And the mayor seems like the kind of guy that we all would like to vote for. Well, if that's what you like, but I would like to vote for him if he's a wrestling fan. That's great. So, yeah, great idea. I've been telling politicians that I've worked for years that they need to go follow wrestling, go watch these shows, and they look at me like everybody else does. Next question here. Joey Knight is money. I think you're full of money here. So thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah,
appreciate you, Noah.
Thank you very much for telling us that. Hi to Silas Walker. Thank you, Silas, as always. Silas is one of our buddies, a regular on the show. And how you doing? Thank you, Jacob. Jacob Collins is here, the brand new ROBW Prestige champion. James Taylor is getting his constituents here. Speaking of people to show up, we love Jacob, one of our favorites. And Jacob is one of my buddies. And hell yeah, yep, Express this Saturday. Very excited about that. And bring the belt to law. Yeah, now, obviously, I don't know how far you are from Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's kind of far for you to get to Parkersburg, West Virginia, unfortunately.
I mean, because listen, I have a goal, especially now that I've graduated. I'm no longer a trainee. I can now take bookings outside of HCW. I'm willing. I don't care how much money I lose on it by doing it. I want to check off all 50 states. I want to check off all 50 states. I want to wrestle in every single state. So
well, you're in luck. I will certainly give your information to our friends in LAW. That I can definitely do. Our friends in LAW, I'll definitely give you their information. But that's interesting. You want to wrestle in all 50 states? Is that something you really want to do? Wrestle in Alaska even? Do they have a wrestling company in Alaska?
I've seen some shows in Alaska. I think it's mainly like when like a company like GCW goes, like Game Changer, like when something like that. They, as far as like a true independent, I don't know if they have one.
Same here.
But because I mean, like whether it be just because of the geography or history, because like little known fact, I am a history major. Yeah, so like just all the different states and like how different, all these little sections of one country can be has just always fascinated me. And I've always wanted to visit every single state. So why not, while I visit them, wrestle in them?
That's a great point because there are basically areas, like you just said, they're almost subdivisions within countries. You think about Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, right? You think about parts of Alabama. You think about maybe in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. And you think about where I am, maybe it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Maybe you throw in Delaware, and then you've got, let's say, California, Arizona. Maybe you throw in, let's say, Washington. You want to throw in more upper part of Nevada. You throw in those states, and it's a great point. And you know what? There are people that can do that. And I have actually, speaking about friends, we have friends in California who are promoters, friends in Arizona who are promoters, friends in Pennsylvania who are promoters. We have friends in a lot of places, and I'll certainly pass that name along. And we got the hardcore champion, and hit the sub button for our friends in HCW. And you guys got a really good looking company, a really good looking product, really good looking ring. You check off a lot of boxes. It's and your last name's Knight, and definitely you're not related to ECW legend Jason Knight, although you look like him a little bit in the face. ECW Jason Knight, because we had, of course, I have to mention our friends over in Mr. Gary Wolf and Mr. Pitbull number 2 Christopher Anino, and shout out to them. And obviously there's a Jordan Knight from New Kids on the Block, but we don't think you're related to New Kids on the Block. You definitely got more than the right stuff from what you showed in the ring there. Got to say hello to our friends in the WVWF, and stopped by to show love to the best East Coast host, the legendary yours truly. I'm not sure about that. I do appreciate the sideburn reference, and I was with my friends eating dinner, and I was talking about them, and they were talking about them, and voila. And yeah, West Virginia. There you go, WVWF. Maybe
Yeah,
we can get you in touch with them.
and to anyone, because I know, a couple of comments, people saying, may have to check out HCW, may have to go down to HCW. Contact the Facebook page. Contact John Hayes. Him, and Billy Hall. They're the owners of
Okay.
Haybarn Championship Wrestling. Contact those guys if you want to get booked at some point for Haybarn Championship Wrestling. We would love to have anyone.
Absolutely. No, listen, we love that, on this platform, as you certainly know. I mean, that's what we do. We love connecting people. We love, working with the people. And I think that we have a lot that I think people would love to do. And it's all about collaboration. It's all about networking, working together. And, we're all on the same team. And I think that you got a YouTube page, you got a lot of subscribers, and let's add more subscribers to that. And yes, amen to that. And we definitely love our friends at Express. Shout out to Express. They've got a show this weekend, Laws Memorial Day weekend. HCW has a show coming up the second Saturday, and I believe is the 13th. I think it's the 13th this year.
14th of June. Yeah.
Close enough. Close, but no cigar.
Almost there.
You're almost there, but you got the point. Also, we got some family here watching. Mom and dad are watching. This kid knows his wrestling. So let me ask you, since mom and dad are watching, what have your parents meant to you on this journey so
far? Obviously, their support has been incredible. Obviously, when your kid says something like, "Yeah, I'm doing this professional wrestling thing," obviously, parents, you're going to be thinking of like the worst case possible scenario, especially.
Are you nuts? Yeah, are you nuts?
Yeah, and like especially since I'm doing hardcore matches now, it's like, are you seriously going to put me through this? Am I going to have to watch this? And it's like, I mean, this is what I want to do, but having that support is, it's incredible. So
yeah, I think it's very important that if you do something, that the people around you provide you that network that can really make a difference. I think that especially in wrestling, you need to have that network of support. I think it can go either way. And I think that because your parents are so supportive, that's going to help you go a long way. I've seen a lot of different things, and I know it's not easy, even, to get to this level here with Sportzwire. It was a lot of hard work, and I think you're going to do some great things in the wrestling world. And it all started with a dream, and here you are. Think about 8 years later, a video with Kurt Angle, where you have a 426,000 view video on YouTube, and leads you now to being the true wrestler. And you know what? And I'll definitely connect. I'll connect you to some of the guys in WVWF in Ohio, Pro Wrestling Cheap Shots. And speaking of our friends here, and maybe what do you think about maybe Arkansas, the battle of the Midwest and the Southwest? How about that, right? That'd be interesting. The battle of the Midwest and the Southwest. You have West Virginia, almost the Three Rivers versus the, what do they call the Arkansas River? Is it the Arkansas River? Or is it Arkansas and Texas? There's like a river, right? Something like that. Is it the river runs?
Yeah, we have the Red River coming through.
That's it. The Red River. That's it. The Three Rivers versus the Red River. You know what? What a great, that must be like a Survivor Series. Let's get a bunch of guys from Three Rivers and a bunch of guys representing the Red River, and the river wins. I think that's a great idea. And Michael McMoney will be here next week, and I'm sure he'll talk about it. And he'll maybe bring the West Virginia Wrestling Federation's Hybrid Championship with us. And we'll do that probably next week. Alaska does have the independence. I know a fellow by the name of John Z. Bishop there. There you go. See, you just never know out there. You never know out there. That's a great stuff. I really appreciate that very much. Thank you for the spam. I really don't know what it is. I've never worked in Arkansas. How about that? Well, you know what? I can certainly connect some of the guys. I'll connect you with them. And yeah, it's interesting. Arkansas, I'm trying to think. Have there been anybody from Arkansas that made WWE? I'm trying to think. That's a good question. That's a good question. Somebody will probably know. Yeah. If there's somebody from Arkansas. You're from Texas, which, like, okay, Texas, it's a no-brainer, but
yeah,
Arkansas is an interesting one. Yep, go ahead.
Arguably, Texas rivals Canada as far as the greatest export to wrestling.
I would say, definitely. We have some of these states representing us here right now. Texas. We think about Pennsylvania. We think about Ohio. We think about California. those are the states that really are represented in the wrestling world. New York once upon a time was like that, but not as much anymore. But you think about Texas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, you think about those states, and those are some of the states. California still, most certainly because of Mexico and that connection. But yes, and absolutely the Ryan James Memorial Show. It's been a big topic here on Sportswire. Is going to take place this Saturday. We spoke a lot about it, and I'm excited about it. Prodigy is going to be a big part of it. And our guest last night, Maverick, is going to be a huge part of it because, oh, by the way, he's competing for the WVWF Championship. So speaking of people, now you're starting to get a lot of people here in the chat. And there is your tag team partner. And talk to me about your tag team partner. Talk to me about what he means to you and just the overall success you've had in this journey so far.
He rides my rear end. Like, he pushes me to that.
Well, he's the first graduate of the academy.
Yeah.
You're the second. Guess what? How about that?
Yeah. So, because our partnership came up as just like something just out of nowhere. He was riding with a partner for a little bit. They had a opportunity for the tag team titles, fatal 5-way elimination match back in August. His partner dips, just leaves the company out of nowhere. He needs a partner to fill in. He needs a replacement, and he called on me. He wanted me to help him out, and we were successful in that effort. I mean, we only held the tag team titles for a month, but hey, it's in the history books.
Hey, you know what?
That we won the tag team titles.
There's been people that have held championships for 15 seconds or 15 minutes. So a month is still, it's a month, Yeah.
So, and we've just been building our, I like to call it a family, as dysfunctional as it may be sometimes. But we've been building mainly out of a necessity because we've been rivaling Carnage for the past, months on end.
Yeah.
But we've, as dysfunctional as it is still a family at the end of the day that we.
That's it. You know what?
Build ourselves in the establishment, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we all go from here.
I think we're going to certainly see a lot of great things. This is his Instagram page, Joey Knight. Please give him a follow. Check him out. And also, if you're here, you'd like to hit the sub button for us, we'd appreciate that. And anybody else from HCW that would like to connect with me, you can do that. I'm on Facebook at Tom Bryce. I'm also on Instagram at the Sports Report 2021. And you hit the sub button for me, I might actually get to 1,500 subscribers tonight. And somebody else never worked in law, and maybe Joey Knight and Prodigy work together. Yeah, book them. There you go. See, you ready? May have a booking in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Stay tuned. Oh, okay. You know what? Thank you for bringing up the Godwins. I forgot about that. Sid.
Okay.
And Sid was from Arkansas. I didn't realize. Oh, right. West Memphis, Arkansas. That's right. West Memphis. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you for checking that out. And God rest his soul, Sid. That's right. God rest his soul. There you go. And we appreciate that very much. Hit the sub button for Joey. Hello also to our friend, Mr. Illadrago. You get a lot of people. Maybe Iowa. Maybe you like to go to the IMF. I mean, apparently a guy I'm going to bring up in a minute or two has been there. Who knows? I mean, he's been there, and maybe you should show up to all these places. They seem like they want you. And if you want to see more of Joey, that's his Instagram page. He's definitely got a lot of stuff and Survive the Night. You can see all of his footage, all of his up-and-coming stuff. You can see him here with Trey Miguel, and he's definitely been a topic. The Rascals, they've been a topic here on my platform in the past with this guy, Rhino. And what was it like meeting them?
It was awesome. This was right after the TNA Genesis pay-per-view this past January in Dallas. And I just went and got in the Rascals line. I met them. I asked them if they had any advice for me when it came to just coming up in pro wrestling. They gave me some good advice, and I'm putting it out there in the universe that whether it's Joey Knight and Eclipse, Joey Knight and Aaron Black, Joey Knight and Kip Havoc, I want to step in the ring with the Rascals. I want to step in the ring with Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz one of these days.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll make sure on Instagram that I tag this clip out there. I'll make sure that they know about it, because guess what? A few days ago, and I see Mr. McMoney here in the chat, I broke the news about this guy that used to be Fuego del Sol was
Yep.
wrestling Day Jameson. Guess what? Pitbull Gary Wolf just came on my platform, and guess what? They got the Pitbulls back. Guess what? Savio Vega was on this platform. Guess what? Some guy Rhino, who you just saw at AEW, he was here. So I'll make sure that the proper authorities, meaning the Rascals, they'll hear this and they'll hear it later tonight. So we'll take care of that line of work. And yeah, never say never, to quote James Taylor. And check out some of the stuff he got. Yeah, I can see him. I can definitely see him. And you can see some of the stuff there. And that's his profile. Check it out. And who else we got here? And yeah, they'll release it when they need to release it. We'll let the powers that be figure it out. You know, before I change and talk about something else, which will lead into, I'm sure, someone popping up here in a minute or two, I do have something for you, and I want to share my screen because I think it's the right time to do it. And for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage where all music and wrestling matters, it is Joey Knight Jr. Day. Congratulations. So there you have it. I will give you the physical copy when we're off the air, and congratulations on the first of many days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep, that's great. Definitely great stuff. And how'd you get a video with 425,000 views, by the way, before I made the change? How do you pull that off?
Just dumb luck, I guess. Because like when I go to wrestling shows, and as you see recently with the concert videos,
Yeah, Post Malone, Jelly Roll. Yeah, they didn't hit
Shine
break, but
Down.
the Kurt Angle one did.
So like with stuff like that, like when I go to these shows, like I like to record things that I know I'll go back, watch, and enjoy, and everything else. I don't necessarily do it to get the views or anything like that. It's more of like a thing for me to remember stuff. And it just so happens that at this show, Kurt Angle gets announced ahead of time as being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So mentally, I know at some point they're going to show a video package for Kurt Angle because they just announced it. So, I'm prepared to take that video and everything. I upload it so that way I can, watch the live reaction of the crowd to that, whenever I feel like trying to have like a good moment, a good memory unlocked. And just as the days and days and days kept going by after that, it just kept climbing up. Like I think after the first day, it had like 1,000 views. I'm like, oh my goodness, 1,000 views! Like that's incredible. Like, okay, I don't know why, but I appreciate it. And then by the end of the week, it had like already crossed like almost 100. I think it was like in the 80,000 mark
Wow.
territory by the end of the first week. And then just over time, it's still like when I look at my analytics, it's still like one of my most watched videos every single week, every single month.
Certainly
People are
helps with
just watching.
monetization. It certainly
Yeah,
helps you with the monetization. You know.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it helps, but yeah, 420 something thousand views. You have a Jeff Hardy one, 337,000, 84,000 with Goldberg. You got a lot of big ones. So we're gonna get those wrestling views up. We're gonna get those wrestling matches up and the resume up even further. And if you want to watch some of Joey's stuff here before I do make that transition here in a minute or two, which I know I'm going to, you can do that on his YouTube page, which is right there. There you go. Hit the sub button from. I see a bunch of people here in the chat. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Yeah, you know what? We want to meet more people, and I'll definitely connect you to some of the law guys. When we're off the air, I'll give you their information because I think that'll be cool, and you'd probably especially with HCW, work very well with them. But let me take this off the screen. I do have to talk about the reason that I kind of do know you actually without knowing. I mean, we sort of know each other. I mean, we do kind of, but we really don't know each other until tonight. And there's this little thing that's called the PWF. It's the Promo Wrestling Federation, which this guy, James Taylor, who I know is going to come in here and he's going to come in. But I think it'll be different when he sees you versus some of the other guys that he comes on here with, because it's going to be almost like this is your life kind of moment. But I mean, James Taylor, you certainly have some history with, and how has he kind of been maybe a stop on the journey here to where you are today?
Yeah, so PWF and the various promos leagues that were around at that time, I posted like a little like random like ranking AEW theme song video on TikTok.
I saw that.
Yeah, and then I I believe like he was the original. I can't remember the name of the company that was before PWF, but PWF was kind of like the developmental of whatever company that
Yeah.
Drake, the True Snake, had owned at the time. He messaged me. He was like, "Hey, I got this promo league. Do you want to join it?" I watched some clips or whatever. I'm like, I mean, it was in the mid. It was like right as the pandemic was beginning in 2020. So it's like I don't really have anything else I can do with my free time. So why not? And then it slowly progressed. PWF kind of became the main thing. It became one of the main TikTok promo leagues during that period of time. And yeah, I just slowly but surely, got more comfortable with doing promos, made my way up, got to meet a bunch of incredible people and have promo battles with a bunch of incredible people like James Taylor, Creepy Leach, Peter Richards,
Yes.
Buddha, all
Yeah.
those other guys.
Yeah, I know Peter.
So
He's been here
yeah,
before in the past. Yep.
yeah. So it was one of those things where like it helped fill that void
Hmm.
where because we mentioned it off there a little bit. I did have prior wrestling training before the year 2024. My senior year of high school, a school had opened up here locally in my area. It was run by Jimmy Phillips and Al Henderson and an independent wrestler in this area by the name of Big Stan Harris.
Okay, I feel
And
like I heard that name before, Big Stan Harris. I think it's come up
yeah,
in before. Okay.
yeah, and it opened up and it was one of those things like the guy that had opened it up, he told me, like, I don't care if I break even on this thing. I don't care if I don't make money on it, but I can't be losing hundreds and hundreds of dollars every month because you and your best friend saw him in the chat earlier, Noah Staley. I can't, run this school with only two trainees, and I'm not going to ask y'all to pay me $425 a month just so I can break even. So, so which I appreciated the honesty. So that only lasted for a couple months, but I kept in contact with Jimmy Phillips and Big Stan Harris throughout the years. Got to do training sessions here and there when I was off during summer break from college, but never really anything that was like full time committed. And then, of course, the pandemic happens. No one in this
Yeah.
area is really doing anything like
I'm
that.
in
No
New
one's,
York,
yeah,
and they did nothing. Listen, if they could, there was some politicians today that would still like to be in COVID lockdowns. I mean, it was a
yeah.
terrible thing in the world, but it was what
Yeah,
it was.
so the promo leagues kind of helped fill that creative void that I was missing by not getting to do professional wrestling.
Hmm.
Um, and I dare say this because, like, I know, like, in the clip that I've shared on social media from James's previous interview when y'all were
Yes,
talking about me coming on the show,
yes,
you saying that like promo wrestling has its place, and
it
I
does.
agree with that
I do
100%.
believe that there are some people that come on here and I don't know what they really think about it, but I believe in promo wrestling because look at you as an example, right? I get a lot of people that come on my platform over the years, and some of them may have more in ring experience than you. Some of them have had maybe more success, but when it comes to communicating and when it comes to talking, what they can maybe bring to the table to us on this platform, their skills may not be as actually good as somebody like yours or other people. Certainly James, Anthony Steele would be not mind a name that comes to mind. Nathaniel Rage. There's a bunch of people that I think that maybe have careers in that been involved in promo wrestling, and they have a certain way of with the microphone. I've seen guys that come on here that have maybe, like I said, a lot more in ring experience, and they may not talk as well. And I think that promo wrestling does help people evolve. It helps people feel comfortable in the microphone. It's almost like when I was in college, I took speech and I took communications. Really, that kind of got me over the hurdle in a way to eventually, getting me, into politics and, speaking, although really doing this really, put the icing on the cake. But I think in some ways, like promo wrestling is kind of like if you were in college, you took a speech or a communications class and that helped you get to the next level.
Absolutely, because like I would say this right now to anyone who may be in position where they know, like, say, like you're a 14-year-old kid in like your local area, like, because I know some places are a little more lenient, like as long as you get a parent's signature, you can
Yeah.
train to wrestle, things like.
Right.
Not every area is the same though. Say
Right.
you're a
Right. Right.
14-year-old kid and you can't train to wrestle. Okay,
Yeah.
I dare say join a promo league.
Absolutely.
Work on your speaking abilities. Work on what your character would be over the next 4 or 5 years until you turn 18, and then can go to a wrestling school.
Yep.
And you already have that part figured out. So now you just got to figure out the actual wrestling part instead of having to juggle those two things at the same time. Because when I got back into training with Haybarn Championship Wrestling, as far as who Joey Knight Jr. was, obviously it's made its changes over the past year and everything, but I had a general idea of who he was before I took my first bump in HCW ring. So I at least had that part figured
But I
out.
think being in the PWF, being in other things, I
Yeah,
think helped you. That's why you were, at least
yeah,
from a speaking ability, were way advanced. Listen, there's guys that come on here I've had in the past that have, maybe they're 10, 15 years older than you, and they are great in the ring, but they don't have that ability. And I think that with promo wrestling, I think it has an important place. I continue to say it. Listen, I'm an all wrestling matters guy. Some people are going to like that, some people are not. But I think promo wrestling plays a very important role in that, because there are people that come on here and because they've got that experience, whether it's being in PWF or other promo leagues out there, that really shows. And I think that that's why you're involved so much, at least from an in-ring perspective, and you'll get there with that. But I think in terms of your character work, it's definitely, I think, advanced a lot more maybe than maybe what for some people would be in the same position. And let me get to a few more comments before I go make the change. Yeah, those COVID checks finally got some guys non-Walmart gear, but it definitely, yeah, it was great to get the COVID money. But to be honest, I'm in New York City, and my, if I could for a second, my politicians wanted us locked down forever. I mean, it was really a horrific time. I hope never to go through that again. I would rather honestly be dead than go through another COVID pandemic. Book me for that. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. That's going to be definitely one heck of a match. Both titles on the line. Yeah, that's going to be, listen, anything is definitely going to go. Yeah, that's going to be something we're going to be talking about, I believe, very soon. In fact, I should say it here right now. Timothy Titan's going to be here Monday night at 9:30. He's going to talk about that. He'll talk a lot about that match, and he'll talk about Dave Jamieson. Thank you very much for the segue. Yeah, I'll definitely be talking quite a bit about that. Thank you for doing my business there. But okay, so it obviously evolved. If I guess maybe I should ask you, if James Taylor was out there, would you want to say anything to him? Anything you'd like to address to Mr. Taylor?
absolutely. I would like to catch up with James if he is out there in the.
You think he is, or
Yeah.
nah? You think he's maybe taking the night off? You think maybe
Uh,
he's thinking about, Anthony Steele again for the 17th time, and maybe
he's got that little. It's not a Spidey sense. It's a Nemesis sense or a Taylor sense. Anytime his name is spoken, anytime the nickname is said, those ears get perked up a little. So I think he might be lurking in the background
you think he's
somewhere.
lurking somewhere? You think he's
Yeah.
lurking? Well, I mean, maybe it's like a name. It's like the light goes off, or somebody gets a notification. James Taylor gets mentioned on Sportswire, notification goes off. And then, but obviously you've got a history with him. So we'll see if Mr. Taylor actually does show up. And the man that's going to be here Monday night, finally, he gets his spot here on Sportswire Radio. That is the man that's making the decisions. Money Mark Media was involved in getting Fuego del Sol, a.k.a. KJ Orso, against A. Jameson, and Timothy Titan's going to talk about that. I'm excited, but maybe if James doesn't show up. But actually, you know what? Speak of him, now would you like me to bring this man on this? I could say no. It's your moment tonight. I want to talk more HCW. You feel like we've got enough in the plate? Do you want me to tell him maybe come on tomorrow instead and talk about himself, or what do you think?
I'm cool with a little reunion. I'm cool if James
Yeah.
comes on here.
You
I'm
sure?
cool.
You're all right with this? You're all right?
Yeah.
Well, for those that are listening and watching in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, two fellow Texans get together once again. It is none other than the nemesis, James Taylor, the man that was the founder of the PWF, which we're actually live on, which I still have done nothing with, and that's totally on me. So you can blame me for it, and James will, I'm sure, say plenty. And James, how you doing? Long time no speak. It's been a couple of years.
Hell are you telling me doing all right? It's been a hell of a crazy weekend, hasn't it?
We feel interesting last few days, but hey, you know what? Dollar and a dream. But
A
James,
dollar in a dream. You
it's,
damn right. You
I'm
dollar in a
always
dream.
dreaming. I'm dreaming about a lot of things. But James, what would you like to say here tonight? I mean, we've even got the LAW, WVWF people here that are starting to know James Taylor's name, and they were kind of wondering. But Joey's here. Joey's certainly been one of those people from the PWF that I think is certainly risen above and certainly done some amazing things recently. And I don't know if he's a protege of yours or at least a colleague, you might want to say, but what do you want to say to Joey Knight now that he's here live in the flesh and wound?
Well, first and foremost, Joey, it's been a long time, but how the hell are you? You doing all right?
Yeah, doing fantastic, man. Living the dream. How about you, brother?
That's the only way you need to do it. You need to live it, and that's to live every day like it's your last. And you definitely look like $1,000,000. You're ready to go. I could see that.
He's
I've been
so
watching
great
you.
tonight. Listen, he's been great. I mean, you could definitely tell he's been waiting for this for a long time on Sportswire.
Yeah, so one of the reasons it was taking so long, like I told all my buddies, like we had previous conversations about getting me on here at some point. I just wanted to make sure I had plenty of things to talk about. I wanted to get a few months of wrestling action under my belt before I had, even come on your show. I wanted to make sure we had plenty of things
Well,
to talk about.
you know what, you could have came on. We've had some names that go back in the time machine. I'd say, yeah. Could I have a do over? You definitely not one of those do overs, and it is long overdue. And you've been very impressive. I got to tell you. I mean, you know, congratulations on the success. I
Thank
think
you.
you're going to have even more success in the future. What do you think, James?
100%. See, a lot of people take it like, oh, he's just James Taylor and he's just wrestled here, he's just wrestled here, and he's done this, he's done that. But what they just don't seem to realize until probably right now is that I've known quite a lot throughout the spectrum here in the U.S. and all over the world. And look at Joey Knight Jr. as a prime example. And I don't want to say that I'm a guy who takes all the credit for his success, not at all. All I did, I've known this man for at least 5, almost 6 years. Joey Knight Jr. is a guy who, just like he said earlier, he was on TikTok doing his little thing. You could tell he loved wrestling, and we had. And let me answer the question you had earlier, Joey. It was PCW, Promo Championship
PCW, yeah,
Wrestling,
that's what it
ran by a
was.
guy who really didn't know what he was doing, named Kent something, Kent Gray. But
That's
Doesn't
who it
matter.
anyway,
Doesn't
was.
matter.
I created the Promo Wrestling Federation, and that was like an NXT developmental thing for PCW. But PCW was going down the drain very, very fast. It was basically WCW. So what I did is I bought my competition and I created what. Now this is where I'm going to make the confusing part for you, Tom, to where
ah,
it's really understandable, so that way you'll know. And
ah,
yes, promo wrestling. I like to say I had a big creative mindset of creating promo wrestling, not promo battling.
I see.
Promo battling is where I draw my line and I have my issue, but promo wrestling is where I made it instead of judging a match between two guys who do a promo. I created the kayfabe league. I
Yeah.
created the idea of booking a show, but through promos. And then we brought in the 2K game and brought our characters to
Mm,
life. So you get a guy like Joey Knight Jr., who, if I may, Joey, he
hmm
started out a little bit rough, like we all do, because you
Yeah.
got to get your feet wet somehow in any skill that you do. And he
Hmm.
was discovering who Joey Knight Jr. was. I believe, if I remember correctly, when he first started, he was a guy who had a list, and he had to constantly go through that list to satisfy something. I
Oh,
forgot
we
what it
had an
was.
episode on Sportswire Radio with the guy Joe Star had a list and then said, "Oh, it was just an accident." So yeah, let's not go there.
But as Joey Knight evolved year after year, he started getting slicker on the mic, quicker, being able to have a response like no other, and be able to start creating a storyline. And that's what PWF was all about, was creating storylines and bringing entertainment to the product. And I set the stage, and I never I never want to take credit for the guys of what they've done. I wanted them to be successful if they truly had that heart for it. And look at a guy like Joey Knight Jr. Not only was he successful in PWF, which by the way, he was arguably, and this isn't me blowing smoke up your ass, he was arguably one of the greatest PWF world champions in the PWF history. He was. And he went on to look at him now. He's not in PWF no more, at least
No, he doesn't
maybe,
need to
but
be in PWF. He's a
he's
wrestler.
doing, yeah,
He's a
but
wrestler. This is a young man
gone
that
on.
he talked
He's
about
gone on to do
grappling.
wrestling. Yeah,
He looks like a wrestler. He carries himself professionally. He conducts himself well on here.
yep.
And by the way, notice he didn't have to use one cuss word. A rare breath of fresh air. Not against anybody that it hasn't. Gary Wolf said plenty of them. He's Gary Wolf, but breath of fresh air. A guy conducts himself workmanlike, professionally, and yeah, he's going to go on and do a lot of great things. No question about it.
Yeah, and like I was getting at earlier, I fully credit 1,000% being a part of PWF and promo wrestling in general, especially with the environment James created with PWF. Because, like he said, promo battling beforehand was just judges and leagues and this, that, the other. He, as to my knowledge, was the first person to create a 2K E-Fed of sorts based around promo wrestling that had advancing storylines that made sense. Things weren't consistently changing on the fly like it would in a promo battle league. Like you had a clear foundation of things to build off of. And I fully credit 1,000% that, I'm very comfortable in my own skin, comfortable on the mic, as good as I am right now. I fully credit all of that with being around guys like James, Peter, Buddha, etc. in Promo Wrestling Federation, PWF.
I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm James Guy.
Yeah, I agree. But look at what you're doing now. I mean, as the years go on, and now you're a pro wrestler. Not only are your in-ring skills going to get better year after year, as long as you're doing it, your mic skills are going to get even better here. This was just the little platform and the little boost to get you going. You do the rest. You're the one that's been putting in the work. You're the one that's been busting your ass to get where you're at today. Congratulations on winning that HCW Hardcore Championship. I watched the match just with everybody else. So congratulations on winning your first singles title. And I know there's more to come. So if I wanted to go back in time for a minute and say, in PWF, me and Joey Knight, we've had a couple of matches. We've had a couple of battles, promo battles. And the guy gave me a run for my money. But I really, truly believe, if anything, I gave him a run for his money. And quote unquote, no pun intended, I was a nemesis of his. And, but who's to say that, yeah, I'm probably twice his age. But I think I still got another 2 decades in me if I really, really, really wanted to.
In promo wrestling, definitely another 2 decades.
You're funny. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I got another 5 years in me. Maybe I got another 10 years in the tank. But who's to say that maybe one day in the future, don't know when, don't know how, don't know if, but I would like to have a one-on-one physical match with Joey Knight Jr.
Whoa.
Joey Knight Jr.
Do you mean to tell me right now? Now, again, I might need to get my ears checked. Definitely could be a possibility. But you have promo wrestled Joey Knight. But now you want to have an in-ring match? I mean, boy, that would be an interesting thing. Promo wrestling to in-ring wrestling with Joey Knight. And you want that, huh?
You can't knock his ability for what he's done, and I know he's got people here from his Fed that actually sees what he does and knows.
He's had a nice turnout tonight. Yes, we're very happy with the turnout tonight. We had a nice.
But
turnout.
I believe Joey Knight has seen my work and knows what I'm capable of in that ring. And the thing is would he ever want to? It doesn't have to be for a title, just straight up one-on-one. Would he feel that I would be up to his level, maybe? Or maybe would he be up to my level in the ring? Yes. He's been in the ring for a little less than a year, but here I am on and off for 27 years. I have wrestled, I have bumped, I have cried. I've got stitches. Have been busted open
Look what
ear
happened.
to ear.
What happened to you with Anthony Steele? How about that match that happened to you? We watched that over the summer. I mean, you
Yeah.
went through a lot in your career, and I mean, this would be maybe the biggest match, literally, because you would be wrestling somebody that you've battled here in the PWF, but now you would wrestle him in maybe the biggest stage of them all, and who knows, maybe even an HCW ring, just man to man, mano a mano. I mean, boy, I like the sound of that. Two fellow Texans, even the Battle of Texas. That could be the Red River match.
From where I'm at here in the U.S. and Alabama, Northwest Alabama, Arkansas isn't really, hell, Texarkana itself isn't but maybe 5 hours from me.
Ooh.
So never say never, kid.
Oh, he did it! He did it! He said never say never. It means this could be happening. James Taylor, the nemesis. Oh, hell yeah. Against Joey Knight, who's going to show James Taylor who really is the establishment in that ring. He's got that HCW Hardcore Championship. Yeah.
I'm throwing the challenge out, but it ain't up to me because I don't book it. This would be between Joey, if he even accepts it, and his booking agent, if they even was to book it in the future.
Well, if it was to happen. You do have a booking agent. You obviously have an agent.
I mean, obviously, that would be a interesting little check mark. I mean, it's not very often you could say that the people you promo battle on screen, you had an actual in-ring confrontation with.
Yeah.
It's not often you can say that. So,
that'd be kind of a history-making thing in a sort of way.
So, of course, I'd be down 1,000% to wrestle the Nemesis James Taylor, whether it's HCW Haybarn Championship Wrestling, whether it's ROEW. Yeah. Whether it's maybe a neutral ground like Law.
That's a great idea.
Maybe it's a neutral territory.
That's a wonderful idea. Could you imagine the social media engagements here on Sportswire? If you have a Sportswire radio challenge match between the Nemesis James Taylor and Joey Knight Jr., really a match? If you think about it, right? This is a match that's, 5 years in the making? James, people talk about you and Anthony Steele. People talk about you and Soldier GP. Oh, I'm sure tomorrow you'll talk about him. People talk about you and Jason Storm. People talk about you and Justin Parsley. People talk about you and all these different names. But if you think about it, you and Joey Knight, this is a match that's 5 years in the making. 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years, but to me, it would be just another match, but at the same time,
it's not just another match.
At the same time, it's a colleague. It's a colleague, that being Joey Knight Jr., a guy that I like to say I kind of helped pave his way just a little bit.
Teacher versus student.
I'd like to test his in-ring ability against someone of my skill level.
Wow. I mean, this could be that pass the torch match.
That maybe. You never know. It probably could. He could probably give me a run for my money and I not know about it. I'm not knocking what he can do in that ring. Hell, the man's just won a hardcore championship.
He defeated a veteran in his own right. Look at what he did to the Sandman Damian Gray. He has won a tag team, and this man's been in this sport training for 9 months. He's already won 2 championships. He's going places. He's going a lot of places.
I mean, I've had the hardcore matches. I've had no disqualification matches, street fights, last man standing matches, but I've never won a hardcore championship. But that don't mean that I don't got a little hardcore in me. I mean,
and you've had those battles in TWA.
I'm one of the originators of backyard wrestling as well.
You are TWA. And you know what? James Taylor, think about this. I mean, everything you've done in our sport. I mean, this is a man that, listen, you both are also social media mavens. He's got a clip with 425,000 views, and he's brought out a championship. He has brought out a championship, ladies and gentlemen.
So, I mean, if you want to come to Prescott, Arkansas, if you ever want to come to Prescott, Arkansas, Haybarn Championship Wrestling, and take me on for this, I'm down. I'm 1,000% down to see where that takes us.
Well, we'll have to see, I guess, wouldn't we? Never say never. Isn't that
I
my
mean,
motto?
isn't this a beautiful
He
piece of
did
gold?
it again.
Isn't this a beautiful title? Wouldn't
Oh,
you
I
love
tell
to
you
hold
what, it
something
looks like
like
almost
this?
like the Wolfpack Elite logo. Remember when the Wolfpack Elite? I mean, that's what it looks like. And Joey Knight Jr. is definitely elite. Joey Knight Jr. is definitely hardcore. And Joey Knight Jr. is definitely proven that he belongs here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage. You're getting a chance to see what Arkansas wrestling has to offer. And, well, James Taylor, he built this platform. And James Taylor is going to certainly want to test his skills against Joey Knight Jr. in a match that's 5 years in the making. 5, maybe LAW and Parkersburg could host this match. That's a great idea. Neutral site environment. Nobody has an advantage. I mean, that way nobody can say, well, he got booked the way he was going to get booked, or, well, that guy was supposed to. No. Put it in a neutral site environment, almost like the Super Bowl, right? They play the Super Bowl. They're supposed to play a neutral site environment. We see who the best team wins, and maybe in this case, James Taylor, you'll have the fairest shake of your entire career because you'll wrestle Joey Knight. It'll be mano a mano, man to man. Who's the very best? And there won't be anything that'll get in the way.
You know, Joey, as much as you've evolved and upped your game and let's just say leveled up who you are as a character, as Joey Knight Jr., the HCW hardcore champion of the world, you know, don't knock the fact that I'm the same nemesis James Taylor that you knew 5 years prior, because every year progresses. Yes, age is a thing, but with age comes wisdom. And that's one thing that I'm always going to have over anybody that steps face to face with me is that I've got the in-ring experience. I've got the microphone experience. I've got the commentator experience, the referee experience. I've got it all. It's just a matter of time to see who is on that same playing field as me, Mr. Knight.
Well, I'll tell you
we
what.
shall definitely see one day.
You know what?
For wisdom.
And you know what? You want some more wisdom? You need to go follow Joey Knight on Instagram. Book this man now. If you are here, he is accepting bookings. He wants to be booked. So if you are out there, go see if you can survive the night. Go see. If you know what? If you're the Rascals right now, you're on the clock. Because the one and only Joey Knight has put you on notice. You're the Rascals out there. This man has laid out the challenge. He's got that HCW Hardcore Championship, and Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel. Guess what? He's open for bookings, Joey Knight. He's the second graduate of the HCW Training Academy, and guess what? He might be off the training wheels, and he might be taking what's yours, and I'd love to see this match, and I think we all do, and go give this man a follow. Check him out. You're going to see more HCW coverage here on Sportswire Radio. And I can tell you a lot of people are fired up. I had a big turnout here tonight. And Zilla wants to go to BCW. Thank you, Zilla. We appreciate you in the chat. Prodigy even got the hint. Say his name. He appears. And, yeah, maybe we will see it in LAW. That might be a neutral site environment where both men, they be happy. May the best person win. You know, that could be the case. And James Taylor is here tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, and he'll have plenty to say about this. He'll be talking about, obviously, the future of ROEW. He'll most certainly be talking about Soldier GP. He'll definitely be talking about him and Anthony Steele, the real deal, and the usuals. But tonight's not about that. It's about a celebration of a man that it's 5 years in the making. A man that has been long overdue to come to Sportswire Radio, and he's come here with championship gold. And on this date, May 13th, 2025, Joey Knight Jr. has arrived. It's Joey Knight Jr. Day on all Sportswire Radio platforms, and most certainly the best is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 years could be a once-in-a-lifetime match. Stay tuned for teacher versus student, old school versus the new era, James Taylor versus Joey Knight. Yeah, Prodigy's got it all on hand. I mean, WVWF and everybody seems out there following it tonight. I think that the Prodigy could just take over for me. It's time for me to move on. It's time to retire. Time to pass the baton. Let these two co-hosts, Zilla and the Prodigy, and yeah, they've got it on lock. That's basically what I would have said because it's one for the ages, and I can't wait to talk about it. And I'm sure James Taylor's got plenty to say about that tomorrow, plus a few other things. Before we close the show here, gentlemen, I want to go to Joey Knight Jr. first. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? Anything else that you want to promote before we sign off? And I can't wait to have you on here maybe next month or maybe sooner. Who knows?
Yeah. Just follow me on all my social medias. I got X, Twitter, whatever you want to call
X
it,
is such a dead
TikTok.
platform for me, though. TikTok, you're very good on, by the way.
Yeah.
TikTok,
YouTube, Instagram, the Facebook page. Follow the establishment on Facebook. Our faction has its own Facebook page.
Yes, I did
Follow
see
us
that.
there. And then follow Hey Barn Championship Wrestling on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And I'd like to give a special shout out, since this is also a channel that showcases music. I'd like to give a shout out. I'm wearing their t-shirt right now. My theme song is a song called Burnout by a band called The Almas.
Oh, wow, okay. I'll be happy
check them out.
talk
They had a show here in my area a couple years ago. I got to meet them. They're all tremendous people. They're an up and coming band. So if you like rock music, heavy metal music,
I
check
do.
out The
I've
Almas.
interviewed. Listen, I mean, I have interviewed again some of the biggest bands. I think once upon a time I have another band coming on, which I need to reschedule because I'm a little bit behind on them. It's a band called the Lucinda Project out of South Dakota. I have them coming on, but I need to reschedule it. But yeah, we would definitely love to plug them for sure. Absolutely. Any band, let them know that they can come to Sportswire any day. And how was Post Malone, by the way? How'd you like Post Malone and Jelly Roll, by the way, this past weekend?
It was good. It was a nice experience. I mainly went because I knew it was probably going to be the only opportunity for the foreseeable future that I would get to hear their duet song "Losers" live.
Oh, yes,
So,
sure.
yeah, that was my favorite song off of Post Malone's country album, so I wanted to hear that song live, and thankfully they were both on tour together. It just so happened to pan out that I was able to squeeze it in last second before my show the next day, so took advantage of it.
Nice, and I know you're a big Shinedown fan, which is definitely a good band, and a band that's definitely a little more up my alley. But yeah, you got some great rock influence. I see Shinedown. Shinedown played at Little Rock. I see that Planet Zero, which is a song in the underground. A group has it in the underground. So Shinedown's a great band, and I bet you didn't know this, but Shinedown's one of their first opening tours that they played on, major ones, was actually an aborted kitchen sink Van Halen reunion with Sammy Hagar at the vocals in 2004. Shinedown actually was one of the opening bands for, again, it was an aborted effort that Van Halen tried with Sammy Hagar. And Eddie Van Halen, unfortunately, he was kind of strung out on that tour, and Shinedown was actually one of the opening acts. So I bet you didn't know that. Well, now you do. And yes, I saw your comment, Zilla, about trampoline wrestling and Joey Knight's wrestling in the real wrestling, not the real wrestling, but he's wrestling in a HCW ring. I don't know if he's going to give you trampoline advice, but I'm sure we'll talk about that tomorrow. We love the trampoliners. Keep trampling on, and don't be like Led Zeppelin and be trampled underfoot. There was an Omen Black comment here who gave just ... So I'm not sure what the ... were for. Maybe he was so happy to see you, James, and Joey Knight. Maybe he was very happy to ... see you. Maybe. But you have any final words? Anything else you want to say before we sign off and let Joey Knight get to his next booking or hopefully next appearance on Sportswire?
Well, congratulations, Joey, once again on becoming the hardcore champion. Congratulations on having being inducted into the Sportswire Hall of Fame, the Joey Knight Jr. Day, and all that. So, welcome to Sportswire Radio. This isn't my show, but I would like to see you on here.
Kind of your
often.
show. You've probably been here more than. I mean, in history, you probably do have the most appearances, I would think, at this point.
Maybe, but I'm not one of those. You see, there's a comment that, because of what you just said, I want to make this clear. There's a couple of comments I hear from some people like, "Oh, I don't want to be on there all the time because I don't want to get stale and bore people." Well, that's not really the case. What it is they're not afraid that they're going to be stale and bore and get people bored of them. It's really more the fact that they just don't know what to talk about. because they can't keep talking. They can't sell nothing. They can't promote nothing. They can't do nothing. So that's why you get guys like me on here and maybe some other ones. But because I have no problem talking. I think Joey can vouch for me on that part, that I like to talk. It's not that I love to hear the sound of my own voice. It's just that I got a lot to talk about, probably because I'm 41 years old. Maybe I got a lot of experience and I just want to throw it all out there. Who knows? I'm an old man, right? But beside the point, Joey, it was an honor to see you. It's after, it's been a while since we've been face to face like this. But we should definitely do this more often and talk, whether it's here on Sportswire or on Instagram or
Well, we'll talk
TikTok
about
or
it off
whatever.
the air. We'll definitely book it. We'll book you back, Joey Knight, for next month. I'll book you. I'll get the date off the air. We will get you on, and we'll lock it in when we're off the air in a minute. So that'll be good.
Fantastic.
You should be on here more often. Yeah, you definitely spoke well. It's nice to have a different person here, and HCW definitely belongs here. You've got a big following, so yeah, you check the boxes off. I'm sure we can definitely have you on here. We'll figure it out, and
who knows? Maybe if we can get the entire family to not be dysfunctional for one night, maybe we can get the other three guys in the establishment.
That's an excellent idea.
And have a
great idea.
And have an establishment episode.
That would be a great idea. I think that would be an excellent idea. If you can make that happen, you tell me, and I'll make it happen before the next show. Yeah, you tell me, and I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to work something out along those lines.
That'll be an excellent idea, and I think that some of your members of the Eclipse, the establishment, like Eclipse, were here. I did see him, and I think I got a message from somebody else in the group. I think Aaron Black messaged me, or somebody else. I have to check it, but I didn't glance my messenger. But I noticed I had establishment members message me, so I think it'd be an excellent idea. So we'll definitely figure that all out. But before we go, one more time, hit the sub button for Joey. If you want to book them, I'll handle you with Law. I'll take care of their info. I'll give that to you, the WVWF. If you want to sub to the PWF, we're actually on there. You can do that. And that gives James an extra sub or two, or me an extra sub, really. Instagram, Joey's on. Check him out there. Also, check out on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, our friends in HCW. You can also check out their link, which is actually right here. And I was having a hard time clicking it because there we go. There it goes. And yeah, hit the sub button for them. Haybarn Championship Wrestling has shows. It's the second Saturday in every month, and their next one is coming up on June the 14th, and I highly encourage that you check that out. He's going to be a part of the action. Joey most certainly will be defending his hardcore championship. You'll see what happens with the establishment, and James Taylor is here 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time for a special show because Wednesday nights I do a little news show, and my co-host, who unfortunately lost his mother-in-law, just came back from Israel and said, now I'm doing the show. He's an eccentric guy. You thought I'm eccentric? Just wait till he does a show. But yeah, he's been here before. His name is Heshi Tischler, and we're doing a show. And I'm going to record with James, and then I'm going to run to Brooklyn and do that. But that's why we'll be here a little earlier. But James will be back here more often because Joey will be back here more often. And we'll give this to you when we're off the air, my friend. Thank you so much for all that you do for our sport. It has definitely been a long time coming, and I think you've definitely delivered. You've definitely made it more than worth the wait, and I can't wait to have you here more often. And who knows, maybe a match 5 years in the making will happen, and maybe it'll be somewhere, and we'll certainly find out and talk about it. And James, looking forward to tomorrow's show, looking forward to catching up for a little while, and thank you so much, fellas, and can't wait to see everybody here tomorrow.
Appreciate you.
Good.
All right, that was here James Taylor, who was the founder of the PWF and still sort of is involved in it. He's also the owner of ROEW. He's got 130-something thousand followers. He's going to be here tomorrow to talk about a few things. We'll get into that. And we're also here with the HCW Hardcore Champion, a man that should have been here months earlier, but he's here now, and he's got that championship, ladies and gentlemen. He is a part of the establishment. He is the second graduate of the HCW Training Academy. That is Joey Knight Jr. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice fit. They're going to raise. There he goes. I'll tell you what, this man is full of gold, and he's definitely going to give everybody else a run for their money. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. Hit the sub button for all of us. I am almost at 1,500 subscribers. We will celebrate that very soon, imminently. But until then, Please support HCW, support these two men, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportzwire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. See you tomorrow with James Taylor, special afternoon edition, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great night, everybody, and congratulations, Joey. So good to meet you, and the best is yet to come, my friend. See you tomorrow.